Lawyers use a number of established tools to comprehend situations. We use the paper Bible. This gives us the detail, but no sense of the overall structure. You have to read into it, and it takes time to do that. The structure chart gives you the overall shape, but nothing about the detail. These are often stored on other media and computer hard drives and the systems that they access. But when it comes to the process of generating and communicating structures, we often resort to hand-drawn charts, like this one. GCD is a tool that melds these into one. Let me go ahead and show you how it works. This is a GCD schema view. Imagine that this has just been sent to me and I've opened it in my browser. What can I find out about what's going on here? Well, first of all, I can see from the title that there's a trust and some assets and banks. From the color coding, I can tell that there are two natural persons, that there's one trust, that there are 5 companies or organizations, and that there's a box containing something to do with a property. So already I can see that there's some sort of trust structure and some sort of corporate structure owning one real asset. If I want to find out more, I can start to press the information icons. So I can see that McTavish and Edinburgh are the trustee. And I can go down and verify that by looking at the trustee appointment. I can see that Jane Jones and John Jones are both the beneficiaries, and I can see the settlement deed that gives them those rights. If I want to find out more about an entity, I can use these icons to find out its registration number, its formation date, that it's a German holding company for the group, and to find other schemas, in this case, the investment process flowchart for the holding company and the group. Could have been the management reporting lines or something else, but that's what it is in this case. I can go and see the documents that constitute a particular entity by pressing on this tree. And I see that there's a due diligence taxonomy that relates to a company. That taxonomy will be different for a trust and it would be different for a natural person. But it allows me a ready way to access documents that comprise that entity. So here we can go down to a loan agreement. I can also open an entity in its entirety. By doing that, I can find, again, the due diligence of taxonomy driven by the entity type, and I can find the static data, and I can change that if required. I can also see who's got access to it. This company is interesting because it's got 2 lines going to it, and I don't know what they are. If I press on this, I see that the green line is debt, relates to Forever Solvent Bank, and that allows me to go and find the loan agreement and see what its terms are. It's a $10 million revolver. The red line is ownership 100% by Investco GmbH, and again I can go down to the shareholders register to check that. If something changes in the group, I can add to this. For example, say that investee company B buys a new property, Blackacre. I can easily add that to the schema view. And then I can create that relationship. I then want to link that to a document that evidences that, which I might store in Blackacre in here. We haven't populated it yet, but that would be the mechanism. Then I'm finished. So we've both understood a particular situation and seen how to add to it. Now, as well as understanding and building sui generis structures like this, the tool can be used to explain or to replicate structures that are commonly used. Here, for example, we have a hedge fund schema. In this case, we can see that there's a master fund. We can see that it has 2 feeder funds, and that those feeder funds are designed for different classes of investor. We can see that the regulation for the feeder fund and the master fund on the non-US investor side is by SEMA. We can see that there's an external administrator. We can see that the master fund enters into relationships with banks, and that typically ISDA documentation might be used to create contractual rights and obligations for the fund to conduct its investments. We can see that there's a management structure comprising of an offshore element and an onshore element. And we can see that the authorization of the onshore investment management company is by the FSA. And we can see that there's a delegation of function from the offshore to the onshore investment management companies. We can see there are some professional advisors. And this tool can be used both for explaining a fairly complicated structure quite quickly, or for particularizing it and creating it by populating the various boxes with the real documents as they are executed and the companies in their particular forms are created. It can also be used in the ongoing management of the structure by giving the different boards of the companies access to their companies alone. That allows, for example, a whole schema to be audited by an auditor by sending them a schema view without the rights of people to see different companies extending beyond what their authority should be. This granular approach to security goes right down to storing documents. So, for example, if we store a document in the accounts category for this master fund, once it's been turned into a real company, at present only application controllers can store in that category in that entity, and only application controllers can read in that entity and that category. I hope that piqued your interest and showed you how GCD can be used to comprehend, manage, and importantly communicate situations. Thank you for watching.